what was your interpretation of sitcom writing before you got into it, and how did they change? Um, what what have you learned from all of your years of doing sitcom writing that you apply to teaching new students?
Yeah, I guess lots of things. And I think a lot about the lessons that you can teach versus the lessons that you have to learn. Because there are lots of things that I feel like if only I could go back and tell myself, age 23 or whatever, however old I was when I started writing, things that I know now that I could tell myself and sort of save myself the pain of having to learn them. But it doesn't work like that, really. You know, a, a lot of lessons about comedy writing or writing in general or just creativity in general, you can only learn them by like living them. You know what I mean? There are things that I think I would tell myself that my young self would be like, yeah, all right, granddad, and just wouldn't listen, wouldn't take it on board. You have to kind of, I don't know, physically learn them, but you have to learn them on a personal level rather than just have someone tell you. You know, which is not to say that I don't think you can teach lots of useful things about teaching a sitcom. I mean, the thing that strikes me the most when I'm reading students' work, you know, reading a sitcom by someone who's writing their first one, is it's so often you read scripts that are confusing, that are thinking the most important thing here is that I've got to be funny, which of course is important when you're writing a comedy script. But if it's not clear what's happening, then your script will never be funny. Because if someone is reading it and they're confused, no one's ever laughing when they're confused, if that makes sense.
Oh, okay.
That if you're reading a script and you're thinking, what's happening here? What is this person meaning or thinking, or who is this? You can never be laughing. So I always try and impress upon people, and I, include myself in this. You know, when I'm teaching sitcoms, I always feel like I'm teaching myself as much as I'm teaching the other people in the room. The most important thing is your sitcom clear? You know, is your script clear? Is it laying out quickly and clearly who these characters are, what the setting is, like what their personalities are? Because it's only then that they're going to be able to be funny. Drama, I think, drama writing can live in ambiguity. You can read a drama script and you can think, who is this person? You know, what do they mean by this? Or what are they thinking? You know, I think of something like Mad Men. You know, the whole journey of that is sort of getting to understand Don Draper. And if you look at the first episode of that, the twist at the end sort of reveals him to be a completely different person to who we thought he was as we were watching the episode. I don't think generally that works in comedy. I think you've got to understand who characters are in order for them to make you laugh. And it just always surprises me how often scripts fail that test, where I think, you know, I might read a script 2 or 3 times, and by the third time I've read it, I think, I've got a handle on this now. But if you're writing a
Oh,
script that's going to go out, you know, let's say it's going to agents, producers, production companies, you are asking a lot of them if it only reveals itself fully after 2 or 3 reads, because probably they don't have time to read your script 3 times. If you're entering a competition, you know, you'll be lucky if they read the whole script. They might read the first 10 pages and does it grab them? Um, so you will make your life and their lives so much easier if you've written a script that straight away, like the setting, the stakes, the characters are clear. And one of the things that I always do when I'm teaching sitcom writing is to look at a few scripts of really good sitcoms of the first episode and see, usually within the first page, you're like, I know who this person is. I know what the tone of this comedy is. I know where it's set. Like, I think I spoke about Fleabag earlier. By the end of the first page of that, you know that this is a sitcom about Fleabag and you know who Fleabag is. Like it is so clearly laid out within the first page. And because you're like, okay, I'm clear what's going on and who this is, you are then able to make those jokes and have them land in a way that if by the end of the first page you're like, so who is this about and what's going on and where are we set? The Detectorists is another really good one. You know, within the first page, you're like, okay, this is a sitcom about these 2 blokes and I know who they are. Like, I know their contrasting personalities. I know that they're metal detectorists. So I always feel like the first test you want to subject your script to, if you've written a script, people are always tempted, I think. And again, I've fallen into this trap many, many times. You write a script and you want to show it to someone and you want them to tell you if it's funny or not, which is a difficult position to put anyone in, to ask them to tell you if your thing is funny. But a more useful question, I think, is, did you understand what was going on? Did you get it?
Ah,
Because if you don't pass that test, you're not going to be funny. Even if you've written funny jokes, if people don't understand characters, the setup, then they're probably not going to laugh. So yeah, that's the biggest thing that I think, the most important lesson when you're writing a comedy script that I feel like I've learned myself. Because again, I've failed that test lots of times. You know, I've written scripts where people wouldn't understand what's going on, where it's not clear. And that is something that now I try to apply to my own writing. How quickly can I clue you in? Who is this? What's going on? What's the world? What's the setup? And then you can start worrying about being funny.